Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashutar Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashutar Shata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashutar Shata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutar Shatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutar Shatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvatī Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha-bhagavat Srila Gorkshara Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anugoya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parashad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Shri Hari Das Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gora Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Hari Bol Ganga Mataji Dandavat Pranam. It's just me and you right now, I think. So we'll sing a song for Mahaprabhu. Let's see. What would be a nice one to sing for today? Ade Bhai Bhajamor Gauranga Charan. Okay. Oh, my dear brother, just worship the lotus feet of my Lord Gauranga. Because I have not performed such worship, I am dying of sorrow. Having plunged into the poisonous well of household life, my 5 life airs are burning. Day and night, my heart burns in the blazing poisonous fire of the threefold miseries of material existence. Thus, my body repeatedly falls unconscious. My senses subjugated by the cardinal vices of lust, anger, greed, etc., I have forgotten the lotus feet of Śrī Gauranga and remain averse to that great treasure. Leaving aside all your fears and hesitation, take shelter of the merciful Lord Śrī Gauranga with both body and mind. Because he has rescued those who are most wicked and sinful, he is known as Patit Pavan, Savior of the fallen. If you bind Śrī Gauranga, the king of Brahmins and the best of dancers, within your heart, then what will material existence and death be able to do to you? Narottam Das says, there is no one equal to Śrī Gauranga. Even without being worshipped, he bestows the treasure of prem. Hari Bol, Kishore Krishna Prabhu. Let's see.
Gaur Haribol.
Gaur Hari Bol. Just making sure the sound is okay. I think so. Yes, it is. Hare Bhai Bhajamon Gauranga Charana. Hare Bhai Bhajamon Gauranga Charana. Na bhajiya mainu dukhe dubi griha vishakupe. Na bhajiya mainu dukhe dubi griha vishakupe. Dagda koilo ye pancha paran. Dagda koilo ye pancha paran. Bhajamor Gauranga charan. Are bhai Bhajamor Gauranga charan. Tapatraya vishanale aharnisha hiya jwale. Tapatraya vishanale aharnisha hiya jwale. Deha sada hoya chetana. Deha sada hoya chetana. Ripuvasha indriya hoilo. Gaurapada pasharilo. Ripuvasha indriya hoilo. Gaurapada pasharilo. Vimukha hoilo heno dhan. Vimukha hoilo heno dhan. Are bhai bhajamon Gauranga charan. Bhajamor Gauranga charan. Ahena gaur dayamoy. Chhadi sab लाज भय. अहेन गौर दयामय. छाड़ी सब लाज भय. अकाय मने लोहरे शरण. काय मने लोहरे Sharana. Paramadur mati chilo. Tare gora udharilo. Paramadur mati chilo. Tare gora udharilo. Tara hoilo patita pavana. Tara হইল পতিত পাবন, তারা হইল পতিত পাবন। কায় মানে লোহরে শরণ, গৌরদ্বিজ নটরাজে বান্ত হৃদয় মাঝে, গৌরদ্বিজ নটরাজে ও বান্ত হৃদয় মাঝে, কি করিবে সংসার সমান, কি করিবে সংসার সমান। নরোত্তম দাস কহে গৌর সম কেহ নহে, নরোত্তম দাসে কহে গৌর সম কেহ নহে, না ভজিতে দে প্রেম ধন, না ভজিতে দে প্রেম ধন, না ভজিতে দে প্রেম ধন, না ভজিতে দে প্রেম ধন। আরে ভাই ভজ মোর গৌরাঙ্গ চরণ, আরে ভাই ভজ মোর গৌরাঙ্গ চরণ, আরে ভাই ভজ মোর গৌরাঙ্গ চরণ, আরে ভাই ভজ মোর গৌরাঙ্গ চরণ। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। জয় সচ্চিদানন্দ গৌর হরি, সচ্চিদানন্দ জয় গৌর হরি, জয় সচ্চিদানন্দ গৌর হরি, সচ্চিদানন্দ জয় গৌর হরি। হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল, নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল। জয় শ্রী সচ্চিদানন্দ গৌর হরি কি জয়। gonna move this back to give some more walk room. There. Hare Krishna, Shubhananda Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. And Prajumna Prabhu, Mantaramurti Mataji, Hari Bol, everybody. Prajumna Prabhu, I don't actually know the answer to that question. Yeah, I don't actually know. Maybe it will get clarified later on. Okay, that's a good question though. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam
Prabhu, can you
Yena
share the screen?
Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ajanulambita bhujo kanakavadato sankirtanaikapitaro kamalayataksho vishvambaro dvijavaro yugadharmapalo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha Avatirno Sakarunyo Parichinno Sarishvaro Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Dvau Bhrataro Bhaje Sajayati Vishuddha Vikrama Kanakaba Kamalayate Kshana Varajanu Vilambi Sharbhujo Pahuda Bhakti Rasa Bhinartaka Jayati Jayati Deva Krishna Chaitanya Chandra Jayati Jayati Kirti Tasya Nitya Pavitra Jayati Jayati Bhrityastasya Vishveshamurte Jayati Jayati Nrityang Tasya Sarva Priyanam Adishi Chaitanya Priya Koshtir Charane Ashisha Prakare Mor Dhanda Paraname Tave Vando Shri Krishna Chaitanya Maheshwar Navadipe Avatar Nama Vishwambar Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Tvam Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtaka Ditaranga Madhe Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Haribo, Indira Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Oh wait, I forgot where it's. I'm a bit spacey today. Okay, Glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita. Ore mura loko shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Chaitanya Mangal, Jahara Shavane Nashi Sarvaya Mangal, Chaitanya Nitar Jate Jani Mahima, Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima, Bhagavate Jota Bhakti Siddhanter Sar, Likiya Chen Iha Jani Koriya Udhar, Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan, Sheho Maha Vaishnava Hoy Tatakhan, Manushe Rachite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya, Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Bhakta Shri Chaitanya, Vrindavana Dasa Pade Koti Namaskar, Aiche Granta Korite Ho Tarila Sangsar, Narayani Chaitanya Uchishta Bhajan, Tar Garbe Janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan, तार की अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन जहाँ रसवन शुद्ध कोयल त्रिभुवन सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृत धार. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet, and when they are described by Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Oh, I forgot, today is the appearance day of Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj. Is it his appearance day for you there, Kishore? Or is it tomorrow for you?
Today.
That's today. Yeah, but I already set up the reading for today. Because it would be nice to read about Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, but I think I didn't think about it in time. Anyhow, because I wanted to finish the chapter today. Anyhow, maybe if there's a little bit of time at the end, we could read something. Or you could share something if you want. But let's see. All right, so we'll read, because I didn't finish reading this whole recap by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, so I'll just start from the beginning. This chapter describes Nimāi's victory over and deliverance of the Dig-vijayī Pandit, who had received the favor of Sarasvatī and who was proud of his knowledge. When Nimāi Pandit was residing in Navadvip as the crest jewel of all teachers, a great Dig-vijayī Pandit who had received a benediction from Sarasvatī arrived there. The Dig-vijayī had already defeated in argument the learned scholars of all provinces, and after hearing that the scholars of Navadvip were famous for their learning throughout India, he proudly arrived in Navadvip in order to defeat the scholars there. Hearing about the arrival of the Dig-vijayī Pandit, the entire scholarly community of Navadvip became most restless and worried. When the students of Nimāi Pandit gave him this news, he told them, "The Supreme Lord and Destroyer of everyone's pride always destroys the pride of arrogant persons. Trees with fruits and persons with good qualities are always humble. Because great Dig-vijayī kings like Haihaya, Nahusha, Vena, Bana, Naraka, and Ravan were excessively intoxicated with pride, the Lord ultimately destroyed their pride. Therefore, the Lord will soon destroy the pride of this Dig-vijayī who has come to Navadvip." Speaking in this way, the Lord sat on the bank of the Ganga that evening, and he began to contemplate how to conquer this Dig-vijayī. At that time, as the full moon shone in the sky, the Dig-vijayī arrived there before the Lord, and was informed by the students about the identity of the wonderfully effulgent Nimāi Pandit. The Lord first exchanged a few words with the Dig-vijayī, and then respectfully and tactfully requested him to describe the glories of the Ganga. Thereupon, the Dig-vijayī began to quickly and incessantly compose and recite verses in glorification of Ganga Devi, like the rumbling of hundreds of clouds. Everyone there was struck with wonder on seeing the amazing poetic ability of the great Dig-vijayī. When the Dig-vijayī stopped after incessantly reciting verses for 3 hours, the Lord requested him to explain the verses. As soon as the Dig-vijayī began to explain, the Lord pointed out innumerable faults in alankar and other literary rules in the beginning, middle, and end of his description. The Dig-vijayī could not reply to any of the Lord's challenges. All his ingenuity became overshadowed. When, on seeing this, the Lord's students were about to laugh, the Lord checked them and solaced the Dig-vijayī in various ways. He told the Dig-vijayī to go home, take rest, and after studying further, return the next day. Being extremely embarrassed and saddened within, the Dig-vijayī began to think, I have defeated even the extraordinary scholars of the 6 branches of philosophy, but due to providence, I have finally been defeated by a young ordinary grammar teacher. How is it possible? It must be that I have committed some offense at the feet of Sarasvatī Devi. Thinking in this way, he began to chant the Sarasvatī mantra and soon fell asleep. That very night, Sarasvatī appeared before Dig-vijayī Pandit and disclosed to him the real identity of Nimāi Pandit. She said, Nimāi Pandit is not an ordinary worldly scholar. He is the omnipotent and original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarasvatī Devi is only a shadow of his internal potency. This Sarasvatī, who is a shadow of the internal potency of the Lord, is ashamed to stand before Narayan. Therefore, she remains in the background. Devi further told the Dig-vijayī Pandit that he had now actually achieved the fruit of his worship, because he had the good fortune of seeing the Lord of innumerable universes. Then, after instructing the Dig-vijayī to quickly go to the Lord and surrender at his lotus feet, she disappeared. When the Dig-vijayī awoke from his sleep, he immediately went to the Lord and informed him with faltering words of the details of his dream and the instructions of Sarasvatī Devi. The Lord, who is the master of Sarasvatī, also instructed Dig-vijayī about the superiority of spiritual knowledge, which is favorable for worshipping the Supreme Lord, and the abomination of material knowledge, which is the source of false pride and domination. We should have sang Vidyara Vilase today. Anyhow, the Lord said, Vidyara Vilase Katainu Kal. Okay. The Lord said, the fruit of cultivating knowledge is to fix the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, and devotion to Vishnu, or spiritual knowledge, is the only truth and desirable object. After speaking these words of instruction, the Lord particularly forbade Dig-vijayī from revealing to anyone the truths that he had heard from Sarasvatī, which are confidential to even the Vedas. By the mercy of the Lord, devotion, detachment, and spiritual knowledge simultaneously manifest in the body of the Dig-vijayī Pandit, and being fully satisfied by achieving pure devotional service, he became Trinad api sunich, more humble than a straw in the street. While describing the nature of Gaura's mercy, the author has written, even a most proud person becomes extremely humble by the mercy of Gaur. Even persons who are intoxicated with pride due to material wealth give up royal happiness to live in the forest and worship Hari. If the most alluring objects desired by materialistic persons are abundantly available to persons who have received the mercy of the Lord, they can easily abandon them. What to speak of royal happiness, the devotees of Krishna consider even the happiness of liberation as insignificant. When the scholars of Navadvip saw the wonderful prowess of Nimāi Pandit and his victory over the Dig-vijayī in this way, they desired to confer upon him the title Badi Singha, and thus his matchless glories was declared. They desired to confer on him the title Badi Singha. Padi Singha, that's nice. I've never heard that. Hari Bol Champak Didi. Radhe Radhe. Okay. Yes, so I will read about Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj at the end. Or if Kishore has something to share, then we can hear from Kishore. Either way. Okay, so 136. We're reading from 136. Okay, let's just see what Sarasvatī Dig-vijayī was saying, like what we read yesterday. Okay, so I must find out the cause of my defeat. Thinking in this way, the Brahman began chanting his mantra. After chanting for some time, the distressed Brahman fell asleep, and in a short time, Sarasvatī appeared before him in a dream. The goddess Sarasvatī glanced mercifully on the fortunate Brahman and confidentially spoke as follows. She said, "O best of the Brahmanas, listen as I disclose to you the secrets of the Vedas. If you disclose these topics to anyone, you will meet a quick death. Know for certain that he by whom you are defeated is the Lord of innumerable universes. I am an eternal maidservant at his lotus feet, and I'm embarrassed to appear before him." And then there's this verse from Śrīmad Bhagavatam. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. Sarasvatī continues, "O Brahmana, although I speak through your tongue, in front of him I have no power. What to speak of me? Even Lord Anantashesh, who explains the Vedas with thousands of mouths, and who is worshipped by Brahma and Shiva, he is also bewildered in his presence. He is the supreme Brahman, the eternal, pure, complete, and inexhaustible Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart. Fruit of activities, mental speculation, material knowledge, pious and impious activities, direct and indirect perception, and more than I am able to say, all these are created and destroyed by that Lord you just met in the form of a Brahmana." Oh wait, that's what we're reading today. Sorry, let me read the Bengali. Karma gyan vidya shubha ashubhadi jata drishya drishya tomare ba kohi baya koto shakala pralay pravarta hoy shuno jaha hoite shei prabhu vipra rupe dekhila shakshate. Okay, so we just read this. Fruit of activities, mental speculation, material knowledge, pious and impious activities, direct and indirect perception, and more than I am able to say, all these are created and destroyed by that Lord you just met in the form of a Brahmana. Haribol Andri Haribabu Pranams. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word karma refers to Vedic rituals such as the performance of fire sacrifices, which aim at enjoying the fruits of those activities in this world. The goal or destination of karma is bhukti, or material enjoyment. The goal or destination of jnana, or speculating in personal Brahman, is mukti, or liberation. And the goal or destination of Bhagavad Bhakti, that's devotional service to the Supreme Lord, is one, not separate or non-different. In other words, it is Bhagavat Prem, or love of God. The word vidya in this verse refers to material knowledge, the purpose of which is sense gratification. In the Mundaka Upanishad 1.5, it is stated, Tatra para rigvedo yajurveda samavedo tarvavedo shikshakalpo vyakaranam niruktam chando jyotisham iti. All the Vedas, the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and their corollaries, are known as Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaran, Nirukta, Chanda, and Jyotish. So all these Vedas and their corollaries belong to the inferior system of material knowledge, apara vidya. The word Shubha Ashubha means auspicious and inauspicious, or good and bad. As stated in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11:28-4. Kim bhadram kim abhadram va dvaitasya vastu na kiyat vachoditam tad anritam manasa dhyatam evacha. That which is expressed by material words or meditated upon by the material mind is not the ultimate truth. What therefore is actually good or bad in this insubstantial world of duality? And how can the extent of such good and bad be measured? In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 4:176, it is said, Dvaite bhadra bhadra gyan sabha manodharma. E bhalo e manda e sabha brahma. In the material world, conceptions of good and bad are all mental speculations. Therefore, saying this is good and this is bad is all a mistake. The word drishya drishya refers to all objects situated in direct or indirect perception. Another reading for this word is dushya dushya, which means eatable and non-eatable, or pure and impure items of material enjoyment. Devotional service to the Lord is neither created nor destroyed. Everything has a creation and a destruction. That object by whom this creation and destruction is accomplished is the Supreme Lord. The word object, it says vastu, it should be entity. That entity by whom this creation and destruction is accomplished by the Supreme Lord, Śrī Gaur Sundar, whom you have seen as a young Bengali Brahmin grammarian. Though he is the only cause of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this world, he is the controller of Maya and transcendental to the modes of nature. Therefore, do not accept him as Lord Brahma, who creates all material objects under the shelter of passion, or Lord Shiva, who annihilates under the shelter of ignorance. Another reading for karma is bhukti, or material enjoyment. And another reading of drishya drishya is dushya dushya. We just read this. Those items that are seen through our mundane vision are called drishya, and items that are beyond our mundane vision is most difficult to understand, yet are nevertheless material. Those are all called adrishya. One's perception of Yogamaya, the spiritual potency of the Lord, from the platform of devotional service, and another's perception of Mahamaya, the material energy, from the platform of material enjoyment, are not the same. They're total opposites. Sorry. Okay. Abrahmadi jatta dekho, shuka dukha pai, shakala jani ho vipra, ihan agyai. Know for certain that everyone, including Lord Brahma, enjoys happiness and distress according to his will alone. Gaudiya Bhashya. All the demigods headed by Brahma enjoy happiness and distress under the control of Maya. But Lord Vishnu is not a living entity who enjoys the fruits of temporary happiness and distress. The demigods headed by Brahma are controlled. In other words, they are under the subordination of Maya and are sons of the universal mother who holds the entire universe within her womb. But Lord Vishnu is the controller of Maya. He is the controller of Maya and Mahamaya. Lord Vishnu is the controller of Maya, and Mahamaya, the universal mother who holds the entire universe within her womb, stands embarrassed behind the Lord. 139. Matsya Kurma Adi Jata Shuno Avatar E Prabhu Vina Vipra kichu nahe ar. Listen, dear Brahman, all incarnations such as Matsya and Kurma are non-different from him. Gaudiya Bhashya. Though the naimittic or occasional incarnations of Vishnu such as Matsya and Kurma engage in their eternal pastimes in Vaikuntha, they appear within this world for some special purpose. Gaura Sundar himself appears in various occasional incarnations in Vaikuntha as portions and plenary portions, and from there he descends within this material world. There is actually no difference between Gaura Sundar and incarnations like Matsya and Kurma. The only difference is in their pastimes. One should refer to the purport of Caitanya-bhāgavata, Adi Kanda, chapter 2, verses 169 and verses 171 to 173, for a description of Gaur Krishna's incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, Vaman, and Ramachandra. This paragraph also applies to the following 3 verses. Okay? 140. Eshe Varaha Rupe Kshitistapayita Eshe Nrsimha Rupe Pralada Rakhita. In the form of Lord Varaha, he rescued the earth, and in the form of Nrsimha, he protected Pralad. Eshe Vamana Rupe Palir Jivan Jar Par Parma Hoite Gangar Janama. In the form of Vaman, he is the life and soul of Bali. The Ganga appears from his lotus feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. The incarnation of Vamandev is clearly mentioned in the Rik Samhita. The description of Vaman's pastimes is given in the Rik Samhita in order to award the qualification on neophyte devotees for studying the Vedas. The purport is that all objects of enjoyment within the 3 worlds, which through material calculation is the ultimate limit for conditioned souls who are prone to material knowledge, are brought under control by the exhibition of the supreme prowess of that personality, the powerful Vamandev, whose characteristics are found as codes in the manners of the Rig Veda. While describing the prowess of this Trivikram Vishnu, Mahabharata, the purport of the Vedas, narrates the glories of his other incarnations. And the purport of Mahabharata has been elaborately explained in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Since according to the consideration of the atheists, Trivikram Vishnu's prowess is limited, they cannot agree to accept the incarnations of Vishnu, the controller of Maya. One is able to perceive the Lord only on the strength of mercy bestowed by the Lord. Persons who depend solely on material knowledge are always baffled in their attempts to understand the nature of the absolute truth, like a dwarf's attempts to catch the moon. The mundane mental speculators see the all-pervading Vishnu in a limited form due to not realizing their own selves, and they are thus bereft of the service of Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. They then consider themselves under the control of material nature and exhibit materialistic false ego as a result of foolishness born of Maya. Such persons who are attached to the objects not related with the Lord are cheated of the Lord's mercy. One should discuss the Katha Upanishad 1.2.23 and Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.3, wherein it is stated, Yame Vaisha Vrinute Tena Labhyas Tashaisha Atma Vrinute Tanungsvam. The Supreme Lord is obtained only by one who he himself chooses, one whom the Lord himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. Eshe hoila avartirna ayodhyaya, bodhila ravana dushta ashesha lilai. This Lord appeared at Ayodhya and then killed Ravan as one of his innumerable pastimes. Oh, Hari Bol Bhavatarani Mataji. I didn't notice you before. And Hari Bol Surevi Didi. Pranams. Uhane Shri Vasudeva Nanda Putra Boli Ebe Vipra Putra Vidya Rase Kutuhali. He is known as the son of both Vasudeva and Nanda, and now he has appeared as the son of a Brahmin to enjoy scholastic pastimes. Vede oki jane uhana avatar janaile janaye anyata shaktikar. Do the Vedas know this incarnation of the Lord? Who has the power to know unless the Lord reveals himself? 145. Jata kichu mantra tumi japile amar Dig-vijayī pada phal na hoy tahan. The title of Dig-vijayī is not the real fruit of your chanting mantras to worship me. Mantre je phal taha ebe she paila ananta brahmanda nat shakshate dekhila. The real fruit of your chanting is that you have now directly seen the Lord of innumerable universes. Jaha shigra vipratumi ihan charane dehagiya samarpan karaho uhane. Therefore, O Brahman, go immediately and surrender yourself at his lotus feet. Don't swapna heno na maniho esa bachan mantra vashe kohilaya veda sangopan. Do not ignore my words by considering this only a dream. I am controlled by your chanting, and I have therefore informed you of that which is unknown to the Vedas. Eto boli Sarasvatī hoila antardhan jagilen vipravar mahabhagyavan. Speaking these words, Sarasvatī disappeared, and the most fortunate Brahmana woke up. One second, I just need to answer an urgent message. What's that message? Please, I'm going to mute my mic for a second. Eto boli Sarasvatī hoila antardhan jagilen vipravar mahabhagyavan. Sorry, speaking these words, Sarasvatī disappeared and the most fortunate Brahman woke up. Sorry, I just read that. Jagiyai matra vipravar shekhane chalilen ati usha kale prabhusthane. Immediately after getting up, the Brahman went in the early morning to the Lord's residence. Prabhure asiya vipra dandavata hoila Prabhu o viprere kole koriya tulila. The Brahman came and offered his obeisances to the Lord, who picked up the Brahman and embraced him. Prabhu bole kene bhai eki vyavahar Vipra bole kripa drishti jeheno tomar. The Lord said, O Brahman, why have you come so early? What is the reason for this behavior? The Brahman replied, It is all due to your merciful glance. Prabhu bole Dig-vijayī hoya apane tabe tumi amare emata koro kene. The Lord said, You are the champion of learning. Why are you treating me like this? Dig-vijayī bolen chunoho vipraraj toma bhajile siddha hoy sarva kaj. The Dig-vijayī replied, Please listen, O king of the Brahmanas. Just by worshipping you, all one's activities become successful. Kali yuge viprarupe tumi Narayan, tomare chinite shakti dhore kon jan. You are the Supreme Lord Narayan, but you have appeared in Kali Yuga in the form of a Brahmana. Who has the power to recognize you? Tokoni mor chite janmila sangsar, tumi jigyasile mor bhakya naspurai. Doubts arose in my mind when you asked me questions that I was unable to answer. Tumi je agarva prabhu sarva vede kohe, taha satya dekhilu anyatha kabhu nahe. O Lord, all the Vedas confirm that you are devoid of pride. Now I have seen this with my own eyes. There is no doubt about it. Tin bar amare korila parabhav, tathapi amar tumi rakhila gaurav. Although you have defeated me 3 times, you have maintained my prestige. Eho ki Ishvara Shakti bine anye hoy, Attaiva tumi Narayana Shunishchoy. Is this possible for anyone other than the Supreme Lord? Therefore, you are certainly Lord Narayan. Gaura Trihutta Dilli, Kashi Adi Kori, Gujarata Vijay Nagara Kanchi Puri, Anga Banga Tailanga Odra Deshe Ar Koto, Panditer Samaja Sangsare Ache Jota, Dushibe Amar Bakya, She Thakuk Dure, Bhujite Konjan Shakti Nahi Dhare. I met with innumerable scholars wherever I've gone, Gouda, Trihuta, Delhi, Kashi, Gujarat, Vijayanagar, Kanchipur, Anga, Bengal, Andhra, Orissa. What to speak of refuting my statements? None of these scholars had even the power to understand them. Wow, it was called Delhi back then as well. That's interesting. Heno ami tomasthane siddhanta korite, na parinu sabo buddhi delo kon bhite. Though I am such a scholar, I was still unable to establish my conclusions before you. Where did all my intelligence go? E karma tomar ascharya kichu nahe, Sarasvatī pati tumi devi more kohe. This is not an astonishing achievement for you are the Lord of Sarasvatī. She personally told me this. Boro shubha lagne ailaya navadvipe, toma dekhilaya dubiya je bhavakupe. I came to Navadvip at a most auspicious time. Although I was drowning in the dark well of material life, I somehow saw you. Gaudiya Bhashya. I entered Navadvip at an auspicious moment, and I attained darshan of you. When persons are drowning in the well of material life, they have no opportunity to see you. So far, I have remained intoxicated with material knowledge, but now I was able to see you by the accumulated strength of my past pious deeds. 166. Avidya vasana bande mohita hoya, bedaya pasari tattva apana panchiya. I was bewildered by nescience and material desires, and I cheated myself as I wandered throughout the world, forgetful of my constitutional position. Gaudiya Bhashya. When the living entities are illusioned about self-realization, they become averse to the service of the Lord and are thus bound by desires for material enjoyment. When conditioned souls who are controlled by mind become foolish due to material knowledge, they are cheated out of self-realization. Daiva bhage palaya toma darashane ebe kripa drishte more koroho mochane. I have met you by some great fortune. Now, please deliver me by your merciful glance. 168. Paro upakara dharma swabhava tomar toma bine sharanya doyalu nahi ar. It is your nature to engage in the welfare of others. Indeed, there is no shelter or source of compassion other than you. Gaudiya Bhashya. The second line of this verse is explained in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 3.2.23 in the following words of Uddhav, who is feeling separation from Lord Krishna. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he, who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, to Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Also in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10.48.26, Sri Akrura offered the following prayers to Krishna and Balaram when they visited his house. What learned person would approach anyone but you for shelter, when you are the affectionate, grateful, and truthful well-wisher of your devotees? To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reward everything they desire, even your own self. Yet you never increase or diminish. Heno upadesha more koho mahashai, arjeno durvasana chitte nahi hoy. O Lord, please instruct me in such a way that I may have no material desires in my heart. Please instruct me in such a way that I have no material desires in my heart. E mata kakuvada aneka koria stuti kore Dig-vijayī ati namra hoya. After speaking many plaintive words in this way, the Dig-vijayī humbly offered prayers to the Lord. One second, my phone's not charging. What the heck? I need my phone to charge because it's almost out. Let me try this other charger, 1 second. So after speaking many plaintive words in this way, the Dig-vijayī humbly offered prayers to the Lord. Shuniya viprer kaku Shri Gaur Sundar Hasiya tahane kichu korila uttar. Hearing the Brahman's submissive words, Shri Gaurasundar smiled and replied, Shuno dvijavara tumi mahabhagyavan Sarasvatī Dig-vijayī adhishtan. Listen, O best of the Brahmanas, you are most fortunate, for Saraswati resides on your tongue. Dig-vijaya koribo vidyara karya nahe, Ishvare bhajile she vidya satya kohe. Manadiya bhujo deha chadiya chalile, Dhanava porusha sange kichu nahi chale. Conquering the world is not the proper use for knowledge. The proper use of knowledge is to worship the Supreme Lord. Try to understand, when one gives up his body, he cannot take wealth and reputation with him. Gaudiya Bhashya. Because ordinary foolish people consider material knowledge and spiritual knowledge as one, or equal, they think that the bondage of material knowledge is the platform of knowledge. The living entity's desire for Dig-vijayī, or achieving victory over others, is born of false ego resulting from material knowledge. Vidya, or knowledge, actually refers to the supreme service of Lord Vishnu, because wealth, physical strength, and good health do not follow a person at the time of death. A person who accepts material enjoyment as all in all utilizes his wealth, knowledge, and physical strength to increase his sense enjoyment. But after his death, these material assets become most useless. A friend of mine was just talking to me about this. Eteke mahanta shava sarva parihari. Koren Ishwar Seva Drida Chitta Hari. That is why devotees renounce material endeavors and serve the Supreme Lord with firm determination. Gaudiya Bhashya. Considering all these points, the magnanimous devotees give up desires for and dependence on all material assets and engage in devotional service with full determination for the duration of their lives. Eteke chariya vipra shakala janjal Shri Krishna charana giya vajaho shakal. Therefore, O Brahman, give up all material association and immediately begin to worship the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Gaudiya Bhashya. That is why you should give up the desire for external material advancement and begin to worship the lotus feet of Śrī Radha Govinda without wasting a moment. Now that Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata had given up the inappropriate purport of the 6 branches of philosophy that he was initiated into before receiving these instructions of Śrī Gaurasundar, the 10 verses composed by Srila Nimbarkacharyapada appeared in his memory by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Gaurasundar's instruction to serve Radha Govinda inspired him with his predecessor Guru's unexpressed emotions, which manifested in his heart in the form of verses. Since before receiving the Lord's mercy, Caitanya-bhāgavata was indifferent to these verses composed by his predecessor Gurus, he displayed negligence for the service of the lotus feet of Radha Govinda and eagerness to accumulate material fame in the form of becoming a Dig-vijayī. Javat marana nahi upasanna hoy hoy, tavat sevaho Krishna koriya nishchoy. Up to the time of your death, serve Krishna with confidence. Gaudiya Bhashya. One who rejects the worship of Krishna cannot properly explain the purport of Vedanta philosophy, one of the 6 branches of philosophy. Being initiated into all these instructions, the compiler of Kram Dipika, isn't Kram Dipika Srila Jiva Goswami? No, maybe not. No, it's not. Being initiated into all these instructions, the compiler of Kram Dipika instructed his disciples headed by Gangalya Bhatta about the process of worshipping Radha Govinda. Sorry guys, I was wrong there. Later on, Keshav and other scholars of Kashmir left the subordination of Sriman Mahaprabhu and took to another path. Turning away from the mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu, Keshav Kashmiri and other so-called followers of the Sri Nambarka Sampradaya, as well as so-called scholars of the Sri Vallabh Sampradaya, rejected the most beneficial and pure lotus feet of Sriman Mahaprabhu, the worshipable Lord of the compiler of Kramadipika, and they took to another path. Both Sri Sanatan Goswami and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami understood Keshavacharya, the compiler of Kramadipika, as a recipient of Sriman Mahaprabhu's mercy, and therefore they collected ingredients from his book in their compilation of Gaudiya Vaishnava Smriti. Later on, the followers of Keshav Kashmiri gave up the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and attempted to establish their own independent sampradaya. Sheshe vidyar phal jani ho nishchoy, Krishna para parme jadi chitta vittaroy, Maha upadesha e kohilu tomare, Sabe Vishnu bhakti satya ananta sangsare. Know without doubt that the goal of knowledge is to fix one's mind on Krishna's lotus feet. The best advice I can give you is that devotional service to the Supreme Lord Vishnu is the only substantial truth throughout all the worlds. Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Gaurasundar said, if the living entities engage all their knowledge, experience, and wealth in the service of Lord Hari, then they will attain supreme auspiciousness. This important instruction will permanently establish within this world the actual purport of serving Vishnu. All topics of this world will be changed and destroyed in due course of time, but the propensity for eternal service to the Supreme Lord will always remain intact. Eto boli Mahaprabhu santoshita hoya alingana korilen dvijer thoriya. After saying this, the Lord embraced the Brahman in satisfaction. Paya Vaikuntha Naya ke alingan viprer hoilo sarva bandha vimochan. Being embraced by the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Brahman was freed from all material bondage. 182. Prabhu bole viprasab damba parihari bhajo giya Krishna sarva bhute daya kori. Then the Lord said, O Brahmana, give up your pride and worship Krishna, and be merciful to all living entities. Je kichu tomare kohi len Sarasvatī she shakala kichu na kohiba kaha prati. What Sarasvatī told you in confidence should not be told to anyone. Veda guhya kohile hoy paramayu khoy paraloke tar manda jani ho nishchoy. If one discloses topics that are more confidential than those of the Vedas, then know for certain that his duration of life is diminished and his advancement in the next life will be checked. Interesting verse. Let's see. What does that mean? Gaudiya Bhashya. If one reveals the confidential meaning of a mantra, he is not actually benefited in this world. Rather, the speaker only gains a shortened lifespan for endeavoring to reveal the mystery. If one reveals the purport of the most confidential Vedic mantras to faithless persons, then those unfortunate persons will misuse the purport of the mantras by preaching mundane Baul, Sahajya, and Smarta philosophies as the path of devotional service. Therefore, even the mistake of accepting an unqualified disciple yields adverse results. Wow, this is a heavy verse. Paya Prabhur Agya She Vipravar Prabhure Koriya Danda Pranama Vistar. After receiving the Lord's instructions, that best of Brahmins offered repeated obeisances unto the Lord. Puna Puna Para Parma Koriya Bandhan Mahakrita Krita Kritya Hoy Chalila Brahman. Then, after offering repeated obeisances to the Lord, the Brahman departed in great satisfaction. Prabhur Agyai Bhakti Virakti Vigyan She Khone Vipra Dehe Hoila Adishtan. On receiving the Lord's instructions, renunciation, knowledge, and devotional service immediately manifested in the body of the Brahmana. Gaudiya Bhashya. Receiving the mercy of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, Dig-vijayī Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata became completely successful. He offered his obeisances to Sriman Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, knowing them to be the source of all auspiciousness. Being empowered by the Lord, Caitanya-bhāgavata simultaneously achieved great qualities such as service to the Lord, realization of the absolute truth, and detachment for activities not related to the Lord. One second. Bhavatarani Mataji, I think it said that his followers left the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu later. And Keshav Kashmiri, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we have to go back to that again. So being empowered by the Lord, Caitanya-bhāgavata simultaneously achieved great qualities such as service to the Lord, realization of the absolute truth, and detachment for activities not related to the Lord. Though he was initiated in the Vaishnav line, his descendants later on became bereft of Sri Gaura's mercy. This pastime of converting the non-devotee Caitanya-bhāgavata into a devotee is most confidential, because up to that point, Gaurasundar had not yet bestowed mercy on anyone in the world to advance in devotional service. The process of devotional service that Caitanya-bhāgavata achieved by receiving the mercy of the lotus feet of Sri Gaur is being respected by his followers, even today. So yeah, Bhavatarani Mataji, hopefully that answers the question. I think it was later on that. But this last line saying that, oh, but is it Keshav Bhatta and Keshav Kashmiri are different persons. So maybe the followers of Keshav Bhatta were okay, but then the followers of Keshav Kashmiri went like against Mahaprabhu, or like they didn't follow Mahaprabhu. Anyways, if anybody knows anything about that, you can say something. 188. Kota gelo brahmaner Dig-vijayī dambha trena hoite adhika hoila vipranamra. The Dig-vijayi's pride was immediately destroyed, and he became more humble than a blade of grass. Yes, Kishore confirms. Keshav Bhatta and Keshav Kashmiri are different. So maybe the followers of Keshav Bhatta were okay, but the followers of Keshav Kashmiri, they went against, they didn't follow Mahaprabhu. Okay, the Dig-vijayi's pride was immediately destroyed, and he became more humble than a blade of grass. Gaudiya Bhashya. Keshav Bhatta gave up his pride as a Dig-vijayī, and he was initiated by the Lord into the Trinadapi Sunich verse. Hasti Goda Dola Dhan Jatika Sambhar Patra Sat Koriya Sarvasva Apnar Chalilen Dig-vijayī Hoya Asanga Henomata Shri Gauranga Sundarer Ranga. He then gave all his elephants, horses, palanquins, wealth, and whatever other assets he had in charity to suitable persons. In this way, the Dig-vijayī continued his travels as a detached person. Such are the pastimes of Śrī Gaurasundar. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Patrasat Koriya indicates that after donating his possessions to other appropriate persons, he personally became renounced, or free from all material possessions. Tahan kripar e swabhavika dharma rajya poro chari kore bhikshuker karma. The natural characteristics of his mercy is that a person renounces even the position of a king to take the position of a mendicant. Gaudiya Bhashya. The devotees of Śrī Gaurasundar actually follow in his footsteps by giving up their name and fame to accept the role of beggars, Tridandi sannyasis. In other words, they give up the pride of kshatriyas and vaishyas and become established in Brahminical principles. The Gaur Nagaris and other apasampradayas, like the householder bowls, they transform ingredients meant for the service of Śrī Gaurasundar into items for their own enjoyment. Such endeavors are extremely adverse to the devotional service of Gaur. Kali Juge Tar Shakhi Shri Dabir Khas Raja Poro Chari Jar Aranye Vilas. The prime example of this in Kali Yuga is Shri Dabir Khas, who left a kingdom to live in the forest. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. Gaudiya Bhashya. One should discuss the following verse from Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Antya 6:220 in this regard. Renunciation is the basic principle sustaining the lives of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. Seeing this renunciation, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is extremely satisfied. Shri Dabir Khas gave up his previous worldly name and accepted the name Srila Rupa Goswami, given by Śrī Gaurasundar. This is the prime example of undergoing the third of the 5 sanskars required for initiated Vaishnavas. The words Aranya Vilas refer to residing in the forest of Vrindavan. While residing in Vrindavan in this way, there are no desires for enjoying material sense gratification like the Sahajyas. Je vibhava nimitta jagate kamya kore paya o Krishna dasa taha parihare. Even when Krishna's servants obtain that for which everyone in the world works hard, they easily give it up. Gaudiya Bhashya. The transcendental devotees never admire the opulences that ordinary materialists achieve while following in the footsteps of the smartas. Tavat rajyadi pada sukha kori mane, bhakti sukha mahima javat nahi jane. One finds happiness in kingly opulences only when he does not know the glorious happiness derived from devotional service. Gaudiya Bhashya. Until the natural propensity of inclination towards the service of the Supreme Lord awakens in one's heart, it is true that the need for achieving desirable objects is felt in the hearts of conditioned souls. But self-realized liberated souls know that material sense objects are useless, so they become indifferent to material advancement or prosperity. The body and mind that consider aversion to the Lord as most relishable search after material enjoyment. As soon as the conditioned soul's eternal constitutional duty of service to the Supreme Lord is covered by forgetfulness of his constitutional position, material enjoyment becomes his only desired goal. But when the living entity awakens to his eternal duty of service to the Supreme Lord, the activities of sense enjoyment appear to him as temporary and unpalatable. In the prayers of Lord Brahma found in the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya in Srimad Bhagavatam 396, it is stated, "O my Lord, the people of the world are embarrassed by all material anxieties. They are always afraid. They always try to protect wealth, body, and friends, and they are filled with lamentation and unlawful desires and paraphernalia. And they avariciously base their undertakings on the perishable conceptions of I and mine. As long as they do not take shelter of your safe lotus feet, they are full of such anxieties." Rajadi suker kata shetakuk dure, moksha sukho alpa mane Krishna anuchare. Leaving talks of happiness from kingly opulence far aside, the devotees of Krishna consider even the happiness derived from liberation as insignificant. Gaudiya Bhashya. When the inclination for serving the Supreme Lord is awakened in the hearts of pure devotees, they think that the four goals of human life, religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, are simply cheating, duplicitous, or deceitful. In this regard, one should see the purport to the Adi Kanda, chapter 8, verse 79. 196. Ishvarera shubha drishti bina kichu nahe, ataeva ishvara bhajan kvede kohe. Nothing is obtained without the Lord's merciful glance. Therefore, the Vedas enjoin one to worship the Supreme Lord. Gaudiya Bhashya. Endeavors other than service to the Supreme Lord are prominent in persons who are full of anarthas due to ignorance. Only by the mercy of the Lord does a living entity become self-realized, and as a result, he understands that service to the Lord is his only duty. This has been revealed by the Vedic literatures to their followers in the following verse from the Shvetashvatar Upanishad 6.23. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite katita hyartha prakashante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. And Sri Madhvacharya quotes the following verse from the Matar Shruti in his commentary on Vedanta Sutra 3.353. Bhaktir evainam nayati, bhaktir evainam darshayati, bhakti vasha purusho, bhaktir eva bhuyasi. Bhakti leads the living entity to the Lord and enables him to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is controlled by bhakti. Bhakti is best of all. Heno mate Dig-vijayī paila mochan, heno gora sundarer arbhuta kathan. The Dig-vijayī was thus delivered from material life. Such are the wonderful narrations of Śrī Gaurasundar. Dig-vijayī jinilen Śrī Gaurasundare, shunilen iha sab nadiya nagare. Soon everyone in Navadvip heard that Śrī Gaurasundar defeated the Dig-vijayī. Shakala loker hoilo mahascharya gyan, Nimāi pandita hoy mahavidyavan. People were all astonished, and they said, Nimāi Pandit is a great scholar, is mahavidyavan. Dig-vijayī hariya chalila jar thai, eto boro pandita ar kota shuninai. He has even defeated the Dig-vijayī. We have never heard of such a learned scholar as Nimāi. Sarthaka koren garva Nimāi pandita, ebeshe tahan vidya hoilo vidita. The pride of Nimāi Pandit is justified, and now his reputation has spread. Keho bole e brahmana jadi nyai pore, bhattacharya hoy tabe khatan na nare. Someone said, if this Nimāi studies logic, he will certainly become a bhattacharya. Keho keho bole bhai mili sarva jane, bada singha boli padavi dibotane. Someone else said, "O brother, let us all together award him the title of Badi Singha." Gaudiya Bhasha. Badi Singha is the name of one Vaishnava from the line of Ramanuja. He was like a lion in destroying the philosophy of monism. It is to be understood that previously, whenever a scholar defeated another scholar, he was awarded the title Badi Singha. Interesting. Eno she tahana ati mayar borai, eto dekhiya ojani bare shakti nai. Yet, even after seeing all this, the influence of the Lord's illusory energy is such that people still did not understand him. E mata sarva nava dvipe sarva jane, prabhur satkirti shabe ghoshe sarva gane. In this way, everyone in Navadvip broadcast the pure glories of the Lord. Navadvipa vasir charane namaskar, e shakala lila dekhi bare shakti jar. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the residents of Navadvip, who had the ability to see all these pastimes. Gaudiya Bhasha. Śrī Gaurasundar enacted his pastimes in Śrī Navadvip Mayapur. The author offers his obeisances to all the fortunate souls who had the opportunity to see the Lord's pastimes during his manifestation, and also those who later on saw those pastimes in their hearts. He thus teaches humility and modesty by setting an ideal example of subordination to the Vaishnavas. Those who are absorbed in material enjoyment while residing in Navadvip do not receive any information about the pastimes of Gaur, and are simply busy in their own sense gratification. Leaving aside such persons, the author offers his obeisances to those persons who are inclined towards the service of the Lord. Jai Shunaye Gauranger Dig-vijayī jai, Kota o tahana para bhava nahi hoy. Whoever hears the topics of Lord Gauranga defeating Dig-vijayī is never defeated anywhere. Oh man, okay. Gaudiya Bhasha. The devotees of the Lord, who are expert in ascertaining the transcendental nature of the Lord, discuss the pastimes of Dig-vijayī's defeat by the omnipotent Śrī Gaurasundar, and thus they engage in the worship of Śrī Gaur. Therefore, the inferior logicians can never defeat them in any way. Those whose resource is humility based on material knowledge, they glorify material arguments, and fame obtains through such arguments. Yet, they are situated on an extremely low platform. The Lord's devotees, however, who are inclined towards his service, can easily understand the deceitfulness of their material knowledge, which is another form of nescience. And by the help of the intellectual considerations, they hear the confidential scholastic pastimes of Gaur Sundar, who is Vidya Vadu Jivanam. He is the husband of the transcendental knowledge, and thus they become more enthusiastic in their worship of Gaur. Vidya rasa Gaurangir ati manohar, iha jai shune hoy tar anuchar. Whoever hears the enchanting scholastic pastimes of Lord Gauranga will certainly become his servant. Śrī Krishna Caitanya Nityananda Chanda Jan Vrindavana Dasa Tachu Pada Juge Gan. Accepting Śrī Caitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Thus ends this English translation of the Gaudiya Bhashya commentary on Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Adi Kanda, chapter 13, entitled Defeating Dig-vijayī. Jai. Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Keshav Bhatta Ki Jai. Sarasvatī Devi Ki Jai. Swaparshaji Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Nitāi Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Okay, it is now 8:30. It is normally our time to stop, but because today is the auspicious day of Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj's appearance, Kishore, would you like to make a little make a little glorification of Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, or would you prefer I read something?
I prefer you read something today, Prabhu. But I would like to mention one thing, though.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to mention two things, because one of them I feel isn't mentioned enough. So Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he took sannyas before he got his pension, before he got his retirement money. And so when he was a sannyasi already, whoever had to deliver his pension came to him and asked him, Maharaj, can you sign this pension so that at least your wife and children will get the retirement money? And he said, I have taken sannyas. I'm a dead man, and now I'm dead, and I cannot do these things. Yes, but can you just sign here? I'm a dead man. How can I sign?
Yeah, that I remember reading
Anyhow,
yeah.
he was very firm that he was a sannyasi now, that he could not, that he had given up all material things. Anyhow, later on someone came like 2 days later and got married to all the daughters or something. Not got married to all the daughters, but like gave them supplied money for their weddings and everything, etc. And one second thing, in one time in the Los Angeles temple, in ISKCON LA, Gaur Govinda Maharaj was coming out, and my father was assisting him, and he was going to get into the car. But my father asked him, Maharaj, I want to ask you one question. Yes? Does the jiva fall from Vaikuntha? And Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, no, nobody falls from Vaikuntha. And my father then asked him, so why do our GBC big shots say that we fell? And Gaur Govinda Maharaj immediately turned around, looked at my father in the eyes. And my father says, and I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to smash me or yell at me or what. And then Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he just smiled from ear to ear, and he said, they're not big shots. They're little children.
Yeah, and that you could see because Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami was so uncompromising when it came to anything, when it came to etiquette, to principles, to the Siddhanta, to anything. He was completely uncompromising. And so he was a big threat. And because he's a Mahabhagava, a pure devotee, and everybody was becoming so attracted to him, he posed a big threat, and so he got so much opposition in in his own society in ISKCON. Wasn't it towards the end they were making a plan to kick him out of ISKCON? Isn't there something like that?
Yeah, there was a plan and everything.
But before they did that, he entered Nitya Lila because he had so much nishta and dedication to serving Srila Prabhupada's mission of ISKCON that he couldn't handle that. Like that would be.
After the JBC meetings, he told Ashram Maharaj, "This is a very dirty place. I do not want to be here." And shortly afterwards, he entered Nitya Lila.
Okay, so I'm going to just I don't have anything prepared. I'm just going onto Facebook and I'm just going to read some quotes here and there. Maybe we could read a little bit more tomorrow about Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj. I'm here with Subosaka Brahmachari and I don't want to make him wait he finished making the offering and he's waiting to take prasad, so I don't want to keep him waiting too long. But we can read just little things here. I'm just I searched Gaura Govinda Swami Maharaj. And let's see what things, quotes and things. Here's from Kishore Mohan. Let's see. I'm going to make this bigger. How come it's not increasing? Okay, there. Can you see that? There. Okay, so Kishore Mohan shared this. When good fortune arises, the jiva meets Sarguru, Śrī Guru. The life in which the darshan of Śrī Guru takes place is a very, very successful life. That is good fortune. Seeing Gurudev, having the darshan of Gurudev, means to receive the mercy of Gurudev. We may see Gurudev with these eyes, but if Gurudev casts his merciful glance on us, then it should be understood that we are very fortunate. Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Let's see some more. Okay. 1 second. Why won't Gauranga embrace you? You are not more sinful than Jaga and Madai, are you? Whatever be the case, he is ready to embrace you. Go to him. But you are not going. You are keeping yourself aloof. Nonsense. Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj, March 16, 1995, when he's giving a lecture in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let's see. Okay, let's see this one. This is Prem Tattva, very confidential Tattva. Everything is based on Prem. This is Para Tattva Prem, the supreme truth. And Krishna says, I am the source of all creation. Then this creation, this Jagat, is also created from Prem, Prematur Utpatti, and it is based on Prem. Sorry, why did I say Prematur? Premar Utpatti, and it is based on Prem. And the culmination is also Prem. Understand my language? So in Shruti, in Veda Mantra, it is said, Anandam Brahma. Veda Mantra says, Anandam Brahma. Ananda means Brahma. What is that? Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas say this is Prem. That Ananda is transcendental pleasure. That is Prem. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Premer Akhyan. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Ananda Chinmaya Ras Premer Akhyan. That transcendental mellow that emanates from that Ananda, that is Prem, Prem Ras. That Shruti mantra says, Anandam Brahma, that is Prem. And what is that Prem? Mahaprabhu gives that Prem through chanting Hare Krishna, Nam Naiva Pradurasid. If your chanting is pure, offenseless, then you will develop Prem. This Prem Tattva you should understand. And what is that Prem? The Acharyas have said, Rupa Goswami has said, he said in Ujjvala Nilamani, Yad Bhava Bandhanam Yuno Buddhai Prema Nigadyate. Understand? No. Yad Bhava Bandham Yuno Buddhai Prema Nigadyate. Is it bhav bandhan? What do you say in English? Bhav. Bondage of love? Bondage of love. Bondage of the mood. Mood. Yad bhava bandhanam buddhai prema nigadyate. Buddhai means learned. They, the learned, say, this bondage of mood is prem. That is prem. It needs explanation. This is a short explanation. This is a sutra, a formula, and a sutra needs explanation. It needs a commentary on it. There is the sutra, then the commentary on it. Otherwise, you cannot understand. It is such an inconceivable tattva. How can you understand bhav bandhan? That which is eternal, which is not temporary, which cannot be destroyed, which cannot become old, that is prem. So it is not available in the material world because it is temporary. It is not available in the material world because the material world is temporary and is ever changing, growing old, destroyed. So that bhav bandhan, that bondage of mood, which is temporary, is not prem. It is kam. It is lust. Bhav bandhan is lust. It's temporary, ever-changing, growing old, is destroyed. Such prem, which cannot be annihilated, cannot be destroyed, cannot get old, which is eternal, apparently you will find all the reasons are there for it to be destroyed, but it is not destroyed. It is so wonderful. Understand my language? It is very difficult to understand, but try to understand. Mahaprabhu will help you because he is so merciful. He is so merciful, patita pavan. And to Kali Yuga people, he gives such a thing. Unless we get Mahaprabhu's kripa, we cannot understand this tattva. Okay. There's one quote of Srila Gaura Gopinatha Goswami Maharaj that I really like. Let me find it. Let's see if I find it in my I shared it before. Let me just see if I can find it in the posts. Never mind. Oh my god.
What was that side of you doing underneath, like Bengali or Oriya writing?
That was Oriya. That was an Oriya
That was
festival.
Oriya writing.
I was supposed to play mridanga at a festival, and then they made a big poster with me, and I was just supposed to play mridanga. I wasn't supposed to do anything else. This is really nice. Okay, let's read this and we'll end here. This will be the last thing. I'll put it in here. This isn't the quote I was looking for. I was looking for the one, Srila Gaura Gopinatha Goswami Maharaj would say this all the time, that sometimes you say Hari Guru Vaishnavas, sometimes you say Gaura Nitai. They are patit pavan, but they are not kapati pavan. I really like that quote. It's one of my favorite Gaura Gopinatha Goswami Maharaj's quotes. But okay, this is from the article Radha Prem Makes Krishna Mad, that Srila Gaura Goswami Maharaj spoke in Bhubaneswar on 19 March 1992. So he says, sometimes Krishna spends the whole night behind a berry tree in the courtyard of Radharani's mother-in-law and father-in-law's residence. Krishna is always afraid of Jatila, Radharani's mother-in-law, and therefore he spends the whole night behind that berry tree. He does not come out in fear of Jatila. So, is this not madness? Sometimes he sits on the path where Radharani comes and goes, waiting for a long time and hoping, Radharani will come, Radharani will come. So, is that not madness? Sometimes, to get a touch of Radharani's body, he disguises himself as the wife of a barber at Napatini. Yogeshwar, Krishna, disguises himself, puts on a sari, and pretends to be the wife of a barber. He goes there and says, Radharani, I have brought very nice alta, the red color that women put on their soles of their feet. I have brought very nice alta. I have brought first-class alta, especially for you, Radharani. Please come, give me your feet. I will put it on them, and it will look so nice. So, is it not madness? Then sometimes he goes to Radharani's doorstep, disguised as a beggar woman, begging alms. Please, Radharani, come out and give me some alms. Is it not madness? Sometimes he disguises himself as the wife of a gardener who makes garlands. Radharani, I have brought very nice garlands with varieties of scented flowers for you. Please come. I will put some garlands around your neck. Is it not madness? Sometimes he disguises himself as the wife of a washerman, goes to Radharani's doorstep, and says, Radharani, please give me your garments. I will wash them so nicely that they will be more blazing than sunlight. Please give me your garments. I will wash them very nicely. Is it not madness? Sometimes he disguises himself as the wife of someone who makes sandalwood paste, a Gandhini. Taking some very nicely scented sandalwood paste, he says, Radharani, I have brought this nice scented sandalwood. Please come. I will decorate you by putting some nice scented sandalwood paste on your forehead. Please come. So, is it not madness? Because Radharani's bodily hue is like molten gold, sometimes he embraces a golden creeper, thinking that it is Radharani, and he cries, Is it not madness? These are all the symptoms of madness. It is Radha Prem that has made him mad. Sometimes he takes some dust from the path that Radharani has trodden upon and smears it all over his body. Is it not madness? Sometimes, when Radharani is taking bath upstream in the Yamuna, at the same time he takes bath downstream, because the kumkum and flowers from Radharani's braid float downstream and touch Krishna's body. Is it not madness? A madman is always fickle, running hither and thither. Sometimes becoming so mad, Krishna runs hither and thither, crying for Radha. Kotai go prema mai, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe go jaya Radhe Radhe, dekha diye prana rako Radhe Radhe, tomar kangal tomai dake Radhe Radhe. Running hither and thither and calling, O Radhe, O Radhe, O Radhe, please give me darshan, otherwise my life will get out of me. I will die. Dekha diye prana rakho, Radhe Radhe, tomar kangal, tomai dake, Radhe Radhe. I am Kangal, I am a beggar begging for you, Radhe. O Radhe, my life will leave me. Please come. Give me your darshan. Radhe, Radhe. That's Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj in Bhubaneswar, March 1992. 19 March 1992. Jai Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
I remember watching one video of Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj saying that Krishna's devotees never suffer. Do you think? And then he asked the devotee, "Do you think Krishna's devotees suffer? Huh? Speak the truth." The devotee said, "Different kind of suffering." "What kind of suffering, Baba?" "Separation." "Arey Baba, that is not suffering. That is a great pleasure. That's not suffering, Baba."
Jai. Wow. Okay, so that was beautiful. So tomorrow we will read some more. Maybe we'll read something about Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj. Maybe we can read a little bit more by him also. And we'll also read Caitanya-bhāgavata. But yeah. Jai Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All right. My friend Subal has been waiting here for a long time for taking breakfast, so I'm going to stop now. And I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll do quick Jaidwani. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Jai Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai, Shri Param Guru Dev Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai, Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, all of Prabhupada's associates Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Ki Jai, Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai, Gaudiya Bhashya, Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvatī Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nimāi Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai, Priyai Keshavashacha, Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi, Sattvatai Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyaivacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. All right. Hari Bol Kishore Krishna Prabhu, Shubhananda Prabhu, Nari Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Champak Didi, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Ganga Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, Sudevi Didi, and everybody else watching. Dandavat pranams. I'll see you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Hari Bol.